Today we're here at Palmer Station in Antarctica on the Antarctic Peninsula, and many of us are here on an expedition, and we're all united by the same purpose, and that is a hope that we can all make an impact to reverse climate change and work towards a healthier planet and a better world. And there's two ways we look at climate change. The first way is through science and through data. That's the more technical aspect. But we also look at climate change through our stories because we've all experienced it differently. And around the world, we've seen the effects of climate change in many different ways. And today I want to talk about the value of those stories and why we need to share them with each other to help get a bigger picture of what's happening to our world. And we've long accepted the heliocentric model of the solar system, where the Earth revolves around the sun. But I think that in a way, we are each the center of our own universes, just because physically we're all at one spot on the Earth, and it's only in that very spot that we have a 360-degree view of the Earth, and everything we perceive is relative to us, is in relation to us. And a lot of what we know, a lot of the information we know and our experience, we know because we've received that information through our senses. And so we evaluate the world based on our position and ourselves. So it comes from a place of humility when I say that because we all have one perspective, not any person can have the whole picture or the global perspective. And that's why it's so important to share our stories with each other, because we each have a different perspective of what's happening, specifically in relation to climate change and environmental change. And when we can contribute those stories to one thread, and we can share those stories with each other, we basically contribute to a global understanding of what's happening, which is really valuable. And so I've spent now 3.5 days on the Antarctic Peninsula and on islands nearby, and so I've had a huge range of experiences here with wildlife, with the ice and the snow, with ice caps, with glaciers, with icebergs and sea ice. And so now I'm struggling with how to share my story. And I think because it's such a dynamic place and it's so surreal and so very different than what most of us know where we live back home, it's going to be very difficult to explain exactly what it's like being here in Antarctica. And so I think the next best thing is to make people feel what Antarctica makes me feel and communicate my experience that way. And so one of the ways I like to do that is through poetry. And so I'm going to share a poem that basically summarizes what Antarctica makes me feel. And it's called Questions About the Sky. Questions about the sky. 1. Let's pretend that the stars are runways and there's a path lit up for us among mountains and glaciers and lakes that are so blue you tend to confuse them with the sky, tripping over seaweed on beaches like guitar strings, toes playing harp, restless because sometimes the future gets in the way of tomorrow. Where does the sky start? 2. Tangible things scare me because I can lose them. So am I tangible, or is it just my body? Am I here, or is it just my body? If I speak too fast or write too quick, if I get ahead of my hands and slip out of the skin, if I chase the little light outside my window up, will I be able to touch the sky then? 3. If I fly, is the level of sky constant at my height on land, or is it receding forever like forests and coastlines and hairlines, dogs chasing tails, always just out of reach? 4. Depending on number 3, can you tell me what I'm missing in the 6 inches between our foreheads? Because I think it might be what explains why your eyes have the wisdom of 100 years. 5. Can you help me jettison all the lead in the corners of my body, lead pouring out my fingertips, which is why I write heavy, so unfettered I stand a little straighter. 6. Is sky made of air or possibility? My mom's a biologist and my dad's an allegorist, and she said air and he said possibility, but I prefer the probability that maybe the sky really is mine. So I will inhale the air and have the sky in my belly like wide open plains and oceans and space. And there could be nascent galaxies nursed in the concave sides of my lungs, and the cilia could filter out all the nova so I exhale light. And it's a little difficult to believe that in space every day is a sunny day, and yet it's darker than this place draped in fog. So I'm holding you responsible for what little light there may be among the clouds, because I am getting sore beneath the weight of the dark. 7. Is there a heaven up there? Tell me I was wrong all this time, and the sky starts where the doubt stops. Thank you.